a high school student named Makoto Misumi is summoned to a fantasy world to become a hero. However, he's dismissed and cast aside by the gods of that world because of his unappealing appearance. Undeterred, Makoto discovers he has extraordinary abilities, including advanced magic and combat skills. He starts his own journey by establishing a new territory and building relationships with various fantastical beings, including powerful monsters and demi-humans. As he develops his newfound domain, Makoto uncovers hidden threats and conflicts within the world, gradually becoming a formidable figure while aiming to find a way back home, which includes becoming a temporary instructor at the thwarted Academy. The academy is soon organizing a week-long festival aimed at helping students find job opportunities after graduation. While working at his shop, a temple priest pressures Makoto to teach them his method of making medicines, offering to clear up any false rumors about his business in return. Shiki joins him on a visit to the temple to demonstrate their production process, but the temple concludes they wouldn't be able to manage large-scale production due to the high costs involved. During the festival, Makoto is targeted by the Assassin's Guild from earlier, but he easily defeats them. Meanwhile, Tomo devises a plan to use a mist-gate to help stabilize the climate in the Demiplane as everyone enjoys the celebrations. On the second night of the festival, Makoto reconnects with Rembrandt's family and has a private conversation with a woman from the country of Laurel named Suritsu. She mentions that the characters on Makoto's shop sign are written in their ancient dialect, and asks how he came to know it, but Makoto skillfully avoids answering her questions. The following day, Ludo accompanies Makoto, Tomo, and Mio for a while before sneaking off to meet with Princess Lilia. The two discuss Kuzunoha trading, with Ludo advising Lilia not to oppose Makoto and his group, as Lilia is already on the verge of declaring war. During the festival's tournament, which determines student prestige, Makoto imposes additional restrictions on his students, but later discovers that some nobles have rigged the competition before it even begins. The tournament kicks off with Makoto's students being pitted against each other due to some behind-the-scenes manipulation. Jin ends up facing Illingan Hopley, who harbors a grudge against Makoto from the past, but Jin easily overcomes him. In the final round, Jin battles Shifu, but she defeats him without much difficulty. Meanwhile, Illingan eagerly anticipates the team matches and secretly examines some mysterious drugs he has stashed away. Later, Makoto is summoned to the Merchants Guild regarding his purchases and the transportation of his goods. He tries to convince the guild leader otherwise, but his efforts fail, and he is forced to consider closing his shop unless he pays nearly all of his profits. After consulting with his followers, Makoto makes a decision, with everyone agreeing on the course of action. As a child, Illingan vowed to a girl named Ruria that he would become a noble who could protect those under his care. In the team finals of the tournament, he resorts to using supplements and a choker amulet to boost his abilities. A flashback shows Illingan attempting to reconnect with Ruria, but he is rejected when his friends ridicule her for fleeing, as her land was destroyed by demons. Makoto and his companions notice this but are unable to intervene in the match. After deciding through rock, paper, scissors, Yuno, Jin, and Izumo go up against Illingan's team. Despite his enhancements, the trio effortlessly defeats the entire team. After the match, the amulet, which was given to Illingan by Rona, begins to influence the citizens of the city. Rona smiles, asking Makoto not to interfere with her plan to gather Princess Lilia and the Hopleys, who are in the audience. Makoto, visibly frustrated, realizes that once again, he has been deceived by demons. As Illingan and some of the townsfolk transform into monsters, Makoto asks Tomo to teleport the nobles to safety while his students, guided by Shiki and Mio, fend off Illingan. During the chaos, Makoto encounters Rembrandt and his wife and seeks their help in dealing with the Merchants Guild leader, Zara. Through teamwork, the group successfully defeats Illingan's monstrous form. Meanwhile, elsewhere, Rona and Io put their plan into action, aiming to eradicate humans from the world. After Illingan's defeat, Rudo and Tomo discuss Makoto's purpose in their world. Tomo mentions that while Makoto hasn't fully decided on his path, his abilities have fully matured. Makoto instructs Shiki and Mio to escort his students to safety, but Mio returns to the stadium. There, Illingan, still alive, shares his hopes and ideals with Mio before she ends his life. Upon returning to his shop, Makoto finds it destroyed, though his merchandise and employees were safely evacuated. He helps some residents in the red light district and receives their gratitude. In a bunker, Makoto discovers that Rona had been collaborating with Bright Sensei on experiments, using the knowledge to create medicines and artifacts that transformed people into monsters. Later, the Academy's headmaster assigns Makoto the task of eliminating the monsters in the northeastern part of town, where the Merchants Guild is located. Makoto, Tomo, Mio, and Shiki ensure the students are safely secured in the dorms while the mutants continue their rampage in Rotsgard. Before heading out to meet with Rembrandt and Zara, Makoto instructs his students to defend the dorms if necessary, but secretly assigns Aqua and Eris to keep a watchful eye on them as well. After defeating numerous mutants along the way, Makoto and his group reconnect with Zara, and they establish more amicable terms, with Zara expressing shock at the group's claimed strength. Makoto then leaves Tomo to collect the remaining mutant transforming accessories, while Shiki and Mio are tasked with competing to eliminate the remaining mutants. Meanwhile, Rembrandt and Zara reflect on their differing views of trade, original ideals versus new ones, after their encounter with Makoto. After receiving assistance from Mondo, and Lyman defeating the remaining mutants, Makoto finds that Eris and Aqua have added extra security to the dorms. He then departs for the affluent area of Rotsgard, where the mutants seem to be heading. Upon meeting several nobles from Limia, Gritonia, and Laurel in their bunker, Makoto is cleared of any suspicion of being a demon spy and is asked by the nobles for his assistance. At the request of the King of Limia and Princess Lily, Makoto asks Tomo to teleport both of them to their respective countries, after which she returns to the subspace. While discussing the situation with Makoto, Shiki deduces that the demon's main target is the heroine of Limia, who has a powerful charisma that can unite allies, unlike the hero of Gritonia, whose supporters are under hypnosis. Their suspicions are confirmed when the goddess summons both, and commands Makoto to protect Limia's heroine. Makoto refuses, still harboring resentment toward the goddess for her past mistreatment of him, but Shiki persuades the goddess to lift the curse that prevents Makoto from speaking the human language in exchange for their cooperation. Once dispatched to Limia, Makoto instructs Mio and Tomo to take over Stella Fortress as part of their plan to restore the kingdom of Kaelnian, and place Eva and Ruria as its rulers, while also establishing a portal there to stabilize the climate in the subspace. Thrilled that Makoto has finally asked them to fight on his behalf, Mio and Tomo mobilize the High Orcs and Lizardmen from the subspace, and launch the invasion of Stella Fortress. The forces from the Demiplane easily overpower the demon forces in Kaelnian, though Mio continues to struggle against the demon general. Meanwhile, Rona heads to Fort Stella as the Imperial army arrives, and Sophia confronts Tomoki in battle. Sophia reveals that she knows Tomoki's healing abilities only function at night, and that his magic eye is ineffective, rendering him and his allies unable to defeat her. On the battlefield, Mitsurugi slays numerous soldiers in an attempt to regain his strength as a greater dragon. Tomoki persuades Mitsurugi to teleport his allies to safety before launching his most powerful attack, but it proves futile against both Sophia and Mitsurugi. Upon learning that Makoto is en route to the capital, Sophia plots to kill him to avenge her previous defeat. Makoto lands in Limia's capital just as Hibiki and her comrades are preparing to retreat to Fort Stella. However, Commander Io intercepts them and engages in battle. Driven by her desire to avenge Navarre's death, Hibiki fights Io but is no match for him, as he brutally overpowers her and prepares to strike the final blow. Just then, Makoto arrives in the hero suit that Mio made for him earlier, and recognizes Hibiki from their previous world. Makoto realizes that the other hero is Hibiki, the person from his previous world, and resumes his fight with Commander Io. Shiki transforms back into his Lick form and requests to be called Larva to keep their identities concealed. He then casts a barrier around Hibiki's team to protect them from Io's attacks. Makoto utilizes the abilities of his hero suit, which Mio had equipped to counter Io, but neither side gains a clear advantage until Io deploys a modified version of the rose sign that Navarre had used for her sacrifice. This escalates the danger for Makoto, prompting Hibiki to try and assist. Larva instructs her to break the barrier as a prerequisite for helping further. Although Hibiki fails to overcome it with sheer force, she enters an astral plane where a deity offers her new power. Reflecting on her options, Hibiki chooses a power that increases her strength based on her team's emotions toward her. With this newfound ability, she manages to shatter the barrier and emerges to find that the remaining demons are also using their rose signs. Makoto eventually breaks the rose sign on Io and nearly defeats him, but Sophia intervenes, tearing the hero suit from Makoto and challenging him to a rematch. Rona reunites with Io and feels relieved when Io explains that, despite employing the rose sign, he is not in immediate danger due to Makoto's interference. Sophia launches an attack on Makoto, but his mana armor easily deflects her assault. Io steps in, only to be sent flying by Makoto. Rona considers joining the fray but is warned by Makoto that he will kill her if she does. Reluctantly, Rona decides to withdraw as instructed. Meanwhile, Sophia merges the powers of the 4 dragons she has absorbed to confront Makoto, but her attacks miss their mark. Despite being cornered, Sophia remains determined and continues her assault. Meanwhile, Mitsurugi moves to eliminate Hibiki and her party, but Shiki intervenes and challenges him to a duel. Despite using all his strength and even sacrificing numerous human soldiers, including one of Hibiki's companions, to enhance himself, Mitsurugi is defeated by Shiki. Shiki then parts ways with Hibiki after protecting her and saving one of her comrades from a potentially fatal injury. Mitsurugi's death causes all his remaining power to be transferred to Sophia, who then uses this newfound strength to launch an assault on Makoto. Determined to end the fight, Makoto reveals that his true skill lies not in magic or hand-to-hand combat, but in archery. With his arrows, he finally defeats Sophia. With Hibiki and Lemia now safe, Makoto fulfills his agreement with the goddess by destroying Stella Fortress with one of his arrows. Shiki confirms to Makoto that he recognizes Hibiki, but Makoto states that he has no intention of meeting her at the moment. Meanwhile, Hibiki suspects that Shiki is connected to the Kuzunoa company and resolves to meet his master someday. Makoto returns home to find that the Demiplane army has defeated the demons with no casualties, and Mio has consumed the enemy general, until he has become a small lizard-like creature. Back in Rotsguard, Makoto's subordinates and students address the remaining mutants and assist with the rebuilding efforts. Makoto also meets with the guild leader, who acknowledges his achievements but still views him as inexperienced for a merchant. The guild leader confides in Rudo that he did not eliminate Sophia, leaving it up to Rudo to handle her as he sees fit. Rudo extracts the souls of all the dragons Sophia had absorbed but spares her, intending to use her for his own plans. Despite mourning the loss of Kaelnian, Rona is pleased that Lemia and Gritonia suffered significant losses from their attacks. She begins strategizing her next move and plans to invite Makoto to meet with the Demon Lord. With all issues resolved and the climate of the Demiplane balanced with all 4 seasons, Makoto and his subjects celebrate with a party. During the festivities, Makoto officially recognizes Tomo, Mio, and Shiki as members of his family and bestows upon them his surname, Misumi. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.